Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning to you all. Welcome to the Social Enterprise Advocacy and Leveraging SEAL Asia Conference. My name is Romy Cahyadi. I hope you can see me on your screen. I'm the CEO of Social Innovation Accelerator in Indonesia, Instellar, and I will be your moderator for this opening session. So before we start, I just want you to be reminded again that our third Social Enterprise Advocacy and Leveraging Asia Conference is a theme, social entrepreneurship and cross-sectoral collaboration, ensuring the recovery of social enterprises towards leaving no one behind in building back better and achieving sustainable development. And during these next 2 days, we'll be having a conversation, learning and sharing, and of course, the purpose of all this conversation is to grow together as a community, as an ecosystem in Asia, especially in the area of social entrepreneurship, with all other stakeholders from different fields. Before we start, I would like to thank all the supporting organizations involved in this wonderful event. UNESCAP, of course, Asia Center Japan Foundation, Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA, and not but not least, Oxfam. And without further ado, to start this morning, let me call on Dean Louis Dumlao. Louis Dumlao is the ISEA Chairperson and Dean of the John Gokongwei School of Management at the Ateneo de Manila University, which hosts the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia. Time is yours, Dean Louis.
Hello, Dean Louis. Can we get your opening remarks, please?
Oh, yes. So good morning and good afternoon and good evening to all, depending on your time zone. As you know, this third Enterprise Advocacy and Leveraging, or third SEAL, is not the beginning but more of a culminating event. With the COVID-19 pandemic's widespread impact, social enterprise or SE sector is located to serve the poor and marginalized sectors of society. From May to August of this year, the Institute for Social Enterprise in Asia, or ISEA, launched the COVID-19 Social Enterprise Response and Visioning Effort, or SERV webinar series in roundtable discussions. The webinars featured and shared inspiring social entrepreneurship responses towards achieving Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, from at least 10 countries in Asia. In the next 2 days, we'll culminate the SERV webinar series with the SEAL Asia Conference with the theme Social Entrepreneurship and Cross-Sectoral Collaboration, ensuring the recovery of social enterprises towards leaving no one behind in building back better and achieving sustainable development. Our objective is to provide the venue for first developing and articulating an agenda for the effective recovery of SEs and the marginalized sectors they serve. Second is developing and articulating platforms where SEs and cross-sectoral collaboration can serve. And third, to provide a dialogue between SEs, civil society, government, the corporate sector, and multilateral agencies for collaboration. All of these are geared towards building back better while leaving no one behind. Thus, we focus on pandemic-related SDG, namely SDG 1 for no poverty, SDG 2 for zero hunger, SDG 3 for health and well-being, SDG 5 for gender equality, SDG 8 for decent work and inclusive growth, SDG 10 for reduced inequality, SDG 12 responsible consumption and production, SDG 13 for climate action, SDG 16 for peace and justice, and SDG 17 for strong institutions and partnership. This conference was originally scheduled in March 2020 and was to be held in Bangkok, Thailand. With perseverance, we're finally able to realize this conference. In behalf of my home institution, the John Gokongwei School of Management of the Ateneo de Manila University, congratulations to Dr. Lisa Dakanay and ISEA. Thank you to the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, or UNESCAP, for agreeing to co-convene this conference with ISEA. Thank you for the partnership of Japan Foundation Asia Center, the Swedish Embassy in Bangkok, and Oxfam. Thank you for the cooperating organizations of this conference, including the Schwab Foundation for Social Entrepreneurship, Social Value Japan, the APRC Social and Community Enterprise Constituency, the South Asia Pacific Bureau for Adult Education, and media partner EcoBusiness. Lastly, thanks to each of the participants for just being here in solidarity towards our common mission in achieving sustainable development goals. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all.
Thank you very much, Dean Lui, for your welcome remarks. We really thank you for your willingness to open this wonderful event. And everyone, for us next, we would like to hear from Mr. Ben Suzuki. He is the incoming director of Japan Foundation Manila. Time is yours, Ben.
Go ahead, Mr. Ben, for your opening message. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, very well, Ben.
Okay, thank you, Romy. Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga, selamat pagi, sawadee krap. On behalf of Japan Foundation, I'm very honored and glad to be invited to this very interesting and relevant symposium. I have just started working as director of the Japan Foundation Manila after 2 weeks self-quarantine imposed just after arrival at Manila airport. I am luckily negative about PCR test. That's why I'm so happy again to be able to see you, even online. I was also the director of Japan Foundation Manila during President Arroyo's administration, and besides have worked at Japan Foundation Bangkok and Jakarta. I also have visited to all of Southeast Asian countries frequently. That's why I feel very close to you. On this occasion, delivering the opening message, I'd like to share something about my experience of the project related to social entrepreneurship or civil society movement, which I myself launched before I came here as director of Asia Center of Japan Foundation headquarters. I have been working for cultural exchange and cooperation among Asian region for a long time, and among many issues, to develop the civil society network is one of the important issues, of course. I still remember when I took part in the formation of the Asian Civil Society Network in the first Asia Center of Japan Foundation during 1990s. And now we have a second generation of Asia Center anyway. This was the era when the activities of Japanese civil society and NPO sector became very active after the Great Hanshin Awaji earthquake in 1995. After there was also a movement, in other Asian countries and linked together. This movement, of course, occurred as the coincidence of the rise of the middle class in the Asian region at the time. But in spite of some efforts of making network, after the end of bubble economy in Japan, we had to stop the project due to severe financial reasons, and we Japanese experienced almost 20 years retreat period from positive approach to the contribution to building the Asian civil society. We call it in general the lost decades. But in the meantime, the world has been flooded with ethnic conflicts, while terrorism has become frequent. The international community, on the other hand, was unable to offer a fundamental solution, further deepening confusion. Under these circumstances, the Second Asia Center was established about 5 years ago. And once again, we tried to play an important role in networking culture and art in the Asian region. But there is a situation different from that of the first era. It was a more diversified society, various challenges facing sustainability due to the deterioration of global environment, and also the diversification of players on civil society itself. In the past, NPOs and foundations were the main players, but nowadays, social enterprise activities are becoming more and more active, and even for existing enterprises, ESG initiatives add corporate value. And of course, we are now sharing the clear target of SDGs, international society, as Dr. Dumlao already mentioned. Nowadays, the practice of civil society leaders are making new attempts for changing the framework of conventional systems and methods carried out by public institutions with aim of solving social issues. Yes, we call it social innovation. So our Asia Center has also launched a new project collaborate with Mr. Ken Ito, a Japanese representative of Asian Venture Philanthropy Network based in Singapore. I suppose he is one of the resource person of the symposium, I don't know yet. But we called this project Social Innovation Link, or SOI, and has begun to work on new networking of civil society in modern Asia, but that has just begun. We try to make a bridge between Japanese and South Asian social entrepreneurship. As a first step, we chose the innovative approach, for example, the collaboration between Japan and Thailand in the field of employment of disabled citizens and ecotourism. We had great success. And through this project, I myself could recognize well about the responsibility of civil society for the public activities. So I'm very, very interested in this symposium, really exciting to watch what's going on and want to get some hints to develop our project, our own project. On top of that, I'd like to appreciate very sincerely this attempt of this virtual symposium. As everyone is aware, that now we are facing this very crucial moment in terms of international cultural exchange and communication. If we look at the situation, since the real contact of human being is prohibited, international cultural exchange has been carrying burden of disadvantage. And these difficulties, creating a space of discourse like today, is very, very indispensable to survive ourselves. We Japan Foundation are always willing to support for all of your positive and challengeable approach to this era of COVID-19. Thank you everyone for your attention. Maraming salamat and good morning.
Thank you very much, Ben, for your warm remarks. It's really appreciated that the Japan Foundation is always taking a positive steps in this situation especially, and we hope that in the coming years we will see more and more collaborative projects between all of us here, different stakeholders in the region, to thrive even in this challenging era. So thank you very much, Ben. So everyone, next we will hear the first keynote speech from Ms. Armida Alisjahbana, the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, UNESCAP. Ms. Alisjahbana was Professor of Economics at University Padjadjaran, Indonesia, and she was the Minister of National Development Planning and the head of the National Development Planning Agency in Indonesia from 2009 to 2014. In 2016, she was a member of the high-level independent team of advisors to support the ECOSOC dialogue on the longer-term positioning of the United Nations for the 2030 agenda. So, Ibu Armida, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Mas Romy Cahyadi. Very good morning. Selamat pagi to all of you. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my pleasure to address the third seal, Social Enterprise Advocacy and Leveraging Asia Conference. I'm very pleased to join forces with the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia to co-convene this important conference in a virtual setting. Governments are working with all stakeholders to overcome the unfolding health and socio-economic crisis caused by COVID-19 pandemic in our region, with a view to bring meaningful change in our societies through social entrepreneurship and innovative business ideas. Youth are trying to juggle between coping with the constrained economic activities and social commitment. Yet it is heartening to see that social entrepreneurs have stepped up in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, from providing educational technologies and e-health services for the most vulnerable to developing community tracing initiatives. The key role of social entrepreneurs in providing market-based solutions to social and environmental challenges is more critical than ever. Colleagues, Asia and the Pacific governments are leading globally the promotion of social entrepreneurship and have spearheaded national policy innovation in varying degrees. Let me highlight 3 policy priorities for your deliberations and considerations. In that, we must prioritize or we must promote social values for social goals. Governments can enable substantial opportunities for youth to engage in social entrepreneurship through innovative ideas and solutions to advance the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development or SDGs. We need to scale up innovative financing solutions to support the growth of social enterprises. Policymakers need to encourage youth to be part of this impact investing so that sustainability principles can be aligned with financial viability of projects. And let us support fintech startups to leverage the potential of technology. Decision makers need to develop digital finance solutions for young entrepreneurs, including women, to grow their business. In particular, as women entrepreneurs are experiencing greater challenges than men in starting and growing their businesses, governments need to prepare women-centric solutions to further catalyze women's entrepreneurship. These solutions include digital savings and lending, e-commerce, payment solutions, accounting tools, and digital financial literacy. These policy priorities can serve as a timely reminder to the governments in our region to address the socio-economic recovery strategy that must focus on social goods, innovative financing, and digital technology. Dear colleagues and friends, the United Nations family, certainly ESCAP, we are strengthening the social enterprise advocacy and leveraging through regional efforts to develop social enterprise, inclusive business, and impact investing policies, and facilitate knowledge sharing across member states through our program and projects. In view of this, let me focus on the role of ESCAP in moving forward this agenda. First, we are at the forefront in creating space for policy innovations and enabling ecosystems to encourage social enterprise to flourish through research and analysis to support evidence-based policymaking, capacity building activities, as well as hands-on policy advisory services and regional knowledge sharing. Second, we are closely working with ASEAN member states through the ASEAN +3 Conference on Social Enterprises that promoted social enterprise architecture. The development of ASEAN regional guidelines for inclusive business to steer policy parameters are notable advancement. Third, we are directly assessing member states in conducting social enterprise landscape studies, for example, in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and the Philippines. The advisory services further supported the initiation of strategy and national plan policy for social enterprises for the government in Bangladesh, China, India, and several of the ASEAN member states. So, colleagues and friends, this conference is timely to develop practical and manageable social business solutions to expand the scope of strengthening regional responses to COVID-19 crisis and to bring young entrepreneurs in the platform to shape the future. Going forward, ESCAP stands ready to collaborate and leverage the energy and outreach of social enterprises, civil society, businesses, along with member states to build back better. I urge all stakeholders to forge a stronger collaboration for scaling up social enterprises in delivering the 2030 agenda. Thank you. I wish you a successful and productive conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibu Armida. It's really heartening, heartwarming to hear how UNESCAP has promoted and supported this conference. We take note some of the highlighted points from your speech. We really thank you for this support, Ibu Armida. And everyone, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to quickly have a photo session right now. So I would ask all of you to open your videos so that the organizing committee can take the picture of all of us. You know, in this time of the pandemic, instead of real picture, now we have virtual picture, but nonetheless, it's what we can do for now. So again, please open your video so that the organizing committee can make the picture for us. And of course, be sure to put your biggest smiles on the screen. Make sure your teeth are seen on the screen. And I think I would like to hand this over to Gomer, if you will, Gomer, to give the direction. I don't know whether you have taken our nice picture or not, Gomer.
Thank you, Romy. We already took a lot of photos. I think that's good for this one, Romy.
Okay, thank you so much, Gomer. Thank you, everyone, for your participations. We would like to ask your indulgence to excuse Ibu Armida as he has another schedule immediately. Thank you again, Ibu Armida, for joining with us this wonderful morning. Thank you very much. Our second keynote speaker, everyone, is Mr. Diskul Dispanadda, or Duke as we call him. He is the president of the Social Enterprise Thailand Association, or SE Thailand, which is a platform to help build capacity for new social enterprises in Thailand, especially. He's also the Chief Executive Officer of May Pha Luang Foundation. He has an extensive background in sustainable development, having been in charge of the foundation's rural development initiatives for decades, I would say, both in Thailand and internationally. He's also a member of Asia 21 Young Leader and World Economic Forum's Young Global Leader. Duke, time is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me here to join third SEAL Asia Conference, and to also invite me as one of the keynote speakers. I'd get right into it. I believe that even before we are having conference that have part of it dealing with COVID, the world is already facing challenging times. Two of the biggest issues in my mind is income inequality, which highlights by the fact that the world top 1% richest people earn more than double of the wealth of the 6.9 billion people, or 88% of the total population. When it comes to climate change, one of the figures that I would like to point out is the Earth Overshoot Days. That is defined as the day when we exceed the resources which the Earth can regenerate. Now that day has been getting faster and faster. Last year in 2019, we have seen that Earth Overshoot Day was the 1st of August. This year, due to COVID and restricted travel, it was pushed by 3 weeks to 22nd of August. With the impact of COVID, it makes things much more difficult, with the grassroots people being one of the hardest groups of people who've been hit by the situation. In Thailand, we are now going through probably GDP of negative 10, 12% this year. And the number of unemployment will probably reach 8 million people, or roughly about 20% of our workforce. It's undeniable to say that COVID makes things much more difficult for all of us. It is also true for social enterprises, whom our missions are already something very, very challenging, having to deal with profitability of the organization, and at the same time trying to create benefit to society and to the environment. SE Thailand has done some basic assessments of our members, and we found out that roughly about 34% of our members are going through financial difficulties in terms of cash flows. 23% also stated that they are very, very worried about where they're going to get their funding from in order to bridge what is required to go into the future. if COVID has teaches us anything, I believe that it has taught us that the way we live, the way we conduct ourselves is not very, very sustainable. And there's a real need for all of us to rebuild towards sustainability. And that requires all of us to look beyond ourselves and our organization. While I've been speaking a lot already about the negative impact of COVID in the world, I also see a lot of potential. I believe now is the time where SE will have a much louder voice. I believe now is the time for all the SEs to really push towards, in a global scale, change of agenda and leading others towards building back better. How do we do that? I believe that SE needs to act as catalyst for change. I believe that SE needs to collaborate much more with others, not only consumers, not only donors, but also we need to proactively engage with international organizations such as the United Nations. We need to work with corporate sectors, government officials, and at the same time, we also need to work with our base consumers. We need to show them that there is a way for all of us to come together and utilize our knowledge and our networks to create greater impacts. Corporations can play a much important roles in terms of knowledge creation, knowledge dissemination, as well as providing marketplace for products from SEs. SE needs to play a role of guaranteeing impact while maintaining or increasing standard of services, of goods and services. And at the same time, I also believe that government needs to play a role to create a conducive environment for which SE can grow and can compete in a normal marketplace with other organizations. I hope that this conference will shed some lights for all of us and some key takeaways from all of us, for all of us, in order to go back to our places and to be able to create better impact for the world. I wish you all a successful conference. Thank you very, very much for inviting me here. Khop khap.
Thank you very much, Duke, for your inspiring speech. I took note here that as an ecosystem for social entrepreneurship, we are to act as a catalyst to change, collaborate proactively with different stakeholders, with corporate, government, even civil society organizations. Thank you very much again for your thoughts. And everyone, let's take another photo now. I think photo taking is part of the ritual for all of us now during this virtual forum. So please, once again, open your videos. Too bad if you can't, but I believe that we can see you behind the screen with your big smiles. Gomer, please give us some direction about this.
Thank you, Romy. Just big smiles, everyone. Our colleague will be capturing photos now. A few more takes, and then a few more pages. And this photo actually is with our keynote speaker, Duke. The photo previously was with our keynote speaker, Ibu Armida, Alisjahbana. Okay, I think we're good. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Romy.
Thank you very much, Gomer.